Good afternoon. This is Dr. Garrett, and I trust you are having a wonderful day. Today is something special. I'm going to do something different. I am standing up so I can get more energized and show a lot of excitement on this topic I will be speaking today. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And as of today, I have over 12,000 views. And I just want to give God the honor, the praise, and the glory for giving me insight of how I can use so many different perspectives and themes to really slow ourselves down, to really think about where we came from, where we are, and where we're going. As you see, I have on my Nike shirt, and remember from the Nike perspective, the acronym Nike stands for my willingness to learn new information or knowledge every day. My willingness with an open mind to learn new information or knowledge every day. So important to have a growth mindset. In relationships nowadays, there's a spirit of complacency. The spirit is, this is who I am. I don't have to get better. Accept me. How we relate to our spouses is indicative of how we relate to Jesus and or our understanding of what he did on the cross. One of my previous videos, I talked about being married to self on or before you are married to another person. You have to be married to all three aspects of yourself: me, myself, and I, and or your past, present, and future. So important to do a genogram or a family study to find out the issues in your family tree or genogram that's permanent or permeating to how you interact today. So it's a realness to learn from your past to correct the present for the future. Once again, my name is Dr. Garrett. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I also have my own ministry and LLC. It's called Faith in Existence. Families are important transformational habitations. Now, I just got off the phone with a good friend of mine, and we was talking about ego, and she told me, you know what, you got a big ego, right? And I paused. I do got a big ego because I am born in the image of my God. And despite my frailties, despite my issues, despite my issues of darkness, he always looks at me in a positive light. So I need, in the spirit of humility, in the spirit of ownership, in the spirit of transparency, I need to check my ego to ensure my ego aligns with God's will. And God's will is being filled up in the four areas of our lives. So when the world see us, they see Jesus in us. All right, so today I will take a, approximately 30 minutes, 34 minutes to talk about this topic: the way, the truth, and the life to a successful marriage. The way, the truth, and the life to a successful marriage we build in the Black community, now, or the African American community. Many people have asked me, why am I real passionate about the African American community? The truth doesn't matter. I am an African American man. I've been working with Children's Services with an agency on the eastern part of the United States for the last 34 years. And out of 10 cases my staff received, probably over half of them, or the majority of them, over 50%, has to do with the African American family, right? In so many of our cases, we have single parent households, right? Mothers are domineering, they are strong-willed, they have to take on the role of the father for whatever reasons. He is not there, right? And it's women are not made to be the disciplinary inside the home, right? That's the man's role. And the many women are taking on the roles of the absent husband or the absent fathers, and it creates role confusion in the home. A lot of men who are being raised in single parents' home are into their feelings. Men should not be talking about I feel, I feel. Men talk about I think, I know. Women talk about how I feel, right? And this convoluted roles have caused a lot of confusion in the last days, and I see it being played out in the family. So I will be talking about the way, the truth, and the life to a successful marriage, whether you're single or whether you are married, coupled up. The way, the truth, and the life to have a healthy persona, and also building, rebuilding the Black community. Now, here are some themes that I have noticed throughout all my years of counseling or in working with the families. We have men and women involved or choosing toxic mates. Why are men and women choosing to have toxicity in a relationship? Why are women choosing to have children with a toxic man? Women tend to focus on what they want and not understanding what men want. Why do women not consider what they bring to the table that is going to be feasible with meeting the man's brand? Some men and women are runners. They do not have the capacity to sit down to work out the issue. When we are into our feelings and our emotions, we do not have the capacity to engage in solution-oriented behaviors. Many men who I counsel say this: their significant others do not get along with them. They do not understand the mindset of a Black man. Consequently, some Black men do not understand the mindset of the Black woman. Too many men have feminine energy as a result of being raised in a home by a strong-willed single mother who's still harboring resentment for the issues that led to the breakup of her relationship. These issues are passed on from one generation to another. A lot of women have masculine energy, a hardened heart, a heart that is cold. Their outer shell becomes really, really, really masculine. You start to take on masculine energy, and you over time you start to appear and believe that you are a man, all right? And believing that you can think like a man, you behave as a man, you can ready to fight like a man, but you have a feminine voice. And these type of issues are causing major conflict in the African American family. Now, here's the question: modern men and modern women, are you marriageable? Right? Do you have the qualities of being an excellent and a proficient husband or wife? Too many people are being married, but they're not being prepared to be a husband or to be a wife. Now, here's some statistics I got from blackdemographics.com. 51% of Black men are unmarried and have no children. 64% of these men who are married and have no children are of middle class. There are 2 million more African American women than men. Yet 847 of African American men are married. So why is it difficult for the Black woman to find a marriage guy? And a lot of them always point out the frailties or the insecurities of the Black men without looking at themselves. Maybe it's a possibility that the average Black man is walking past you. They're not considering you because of variety of reasons. It could be the masculine alpha feminine attitude or their inability to support his brand. What is the most important thing that Black men want from you, right? Black men do not desire sex to be the outcome of the relationship. that he's seeking from a potential a woman that he plans to marry. He wants you to support his legacy, to support his brand. So he's looking at you. He's looking at your exterior, because the first issue that's going to lead to for black men to consider a black woman for marriage material is to see if you're attractive. Once you open your mouth, he's going to determine if you are marriage material. You have to remember, men are the consumer, women are the product. It's as if you go to the store, men, you go to the store and you want to buy bread. You look down the aisle, there's so many different types of bread there, so many different brands. There are bread that have large pieces of bread, some has medium, some have small. Different sizes of bread, different ingredients in bread. So men are the product, and men are nowadays, they are choosing. Men are waiting longer before they consider marriage in their late 30s or early 40s. They already have their house, they already have their cars, they already have their careers. Right now they're starting to look for a family, and they're looking for someone who can complement what they're doing. Men are not looking for a masculine, alpha, feminine. He's looking for a woman, a woman who understands that she can become whole when she is tabernacle with a man, or a female, a woman or female who understands the importance of a man. He's not looking for a feminine. He's already an alpha. He already has the energy. He's looking for someone who's going to complement. Bible calls this a helpmeet. A woman or female who is marriage material must complement and support the four aspects that a mature man has already have. The ministry of home, helping him to take care of home. The ministry of family, helping him to take care of family. The ministry of self, supporting him in his role as a man. And number one, supporting him with the work that he do outside of home. This is what men desire in the spirit of submissive and cooperation. So here's the question. Why do some women push black men away? The reason why you push black men away is that the same qualities that the men have, you are bringing back to him. He does not desire a woman who has the same energy as him. He's looking for a woman who is 100% feminine in her role and accept her role as complement to him. All right. So I went on blackdemographics.com and a variety of other resources to find out why are many black people or African American people going to the church for answers to their problems. Ever since the pandemic, many people have flocked to the church for answers of improving family relationships and overcoming issues in the relationship. Most people find me through Psychology Today, through spirituality. Some say, I'm seeking you to be my therapist because you're an African American man. That's true. And in my summary, I do mention that I have been married for over 21 years. Some people want a therapist who has gained success in their marriage. And number three, the most important reason why people choose me, actually my credentials, that helped out a lot. And number four, there aren't many African Americans inside the field, which I just said a few minutes ago. But most importantly, people find me because of spirituality. Now I'm going to read you something that I got from my studying on this topic. According to the U.S. Religious Landscape Survey conducted in 2007 by the Pew Research Center Forum on Religion and Public Life, Black Americans are remarkably are markedly more religious on a variety of measures than the U.S. population as a whole. It's cited that 80% of African Americans versus 83% of all Americans are affiliated with religion. It also found that 79% of African Americans versus 56% overall say that religion is very important to their life. Now, here's the question. You can be religious, but you may not be spiritual. What I find out a lot of people is that you understand what it means to accept Jesus as Savior, but when it comes to Lord in your life, you still want to do things your way, right? Most people understand the vertical. When Jesus speaks, you understand, you agree it. But when it talks of putting that into horizontal action, that's where the problem is. And one of the reasons why we cannot tap into that power that Jesus has given us is because we have not accepted him fully as Lord and Savior of my life. Now, Jesus says in John 14:6, I'm reading from the King James Version, he says this, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man coming to my Father but by me. What he's basically saying, we have access to God. It is through God that we give mercy and grace and power to help us sustain the issues of our life. But the only way for us to have access to God, we have to accept Jesus in the way of how we can empower self, how we can empower families. We have to accept his truth for what it is. Do not add into it or take it away. And we have to accept his life. That means an unselfish life. That means loving without limits. That means allowing Jesus to help you have the spirit of discernment so you do not get involved with someone who is toxic. If you get involved with someone who is toxic, that's your choosing. That's your accountability. Some people think that they have power in their pee to change people. No matter how highly you think about yourself, you can't change no one. I love this text. Zechariah 4:6. It says, not by my might or my power, but by his spirit. The only way that we can exert change into someone is by God's spirit. The only way we can have God's spirit inside of us is we truly accept Jesus as Lord and Savior. Jesus has given us the great exchange. He has taken our sin and our sinfulness, nailed it to the cross, and gave us his perfect life. Now, what we have to do, we have to build upon his perfect life. We have to believe by faith that we have his life in us, right? The definition of faith is found in John chapter 11, verse 1. For the definition is faith is the evidence, is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Allow Jesus to have total control of your mind. Let the mind of Jesus be in you so you can be the men and women he desires us to be. Marriage describes every relationship on earth. Every relationship on earth is a marriage. We are married to our jobs. We are married to our spouses. We are married to our children. We are married to Jesus. We are married to self, and we deserve to put our best efforts in everything that we do. One of my favorite texts is in Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 10, and it says that whatever you do with these, and we have 10 fingers, 8 fingers, and 2 thumbs, you do it with all your might. We have 10. There's something powerful by the number 10. It represents the 10 commandments. And according to BibleProphecyTruth.com, the number 10 represents restoration. That means from this day on, I can focus on making myself better. I don't have to keep on looking at the past. I can start today with making a change. The greatest emotion that leads to change is unselfish love. Love without limits. So from this point on, I challenge this poor soul in front of you, night perspective. From this point on, I will engage in new information and knowledge every day and apply it so I can be the person that he desires me to be. I can be the therapist that he desires me to be. I can be the husband, the father, the friend by his perspective. And my challenge is to believe by faith that the power that he has given me, that I can change someone by believing what he has given me to change me so I can change you. All right. Zechariah 4:6, not by my might or power, but my spirit. We have 10 toes, and the sixth article of God, the armor of God, the sixth article of the armor of God is found in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 15, and the feet represents the gospel of peace. So from this point on, whether you do it with your hands or whether you go, you bring harmony, you bring peace, you bring sustenance, you bring endurance, you bring perseverance, you bring determination, and believing by faith you can change others based on the change that's happening inside you. So we need not only to be religious, but we need to be also spiritual. All right. But check this out. Jesus says in John 14:6, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man come to the Father but by me. But here's the catch. Not everyone is accepting Jesus in his way, accepting Jesus in his truth, and accepting Jesus in his life. You can go to a video that have called the Sanctuary Way to Overcoming Addiction. There are 10 steps that describes the way, and you review it, watch it. I don't have time to discuss it here, but it gives you 10 steps how you can conquer any problem, right? But here's the catch. This is choice behavior. So if you're not engaging in and or accepting Jesus as the way, the truth, and life, then you are demonstrating Proverbs 14:12. And it says this: there is a way that seemeth right to a man, but the end result are the ways of death. So the reason why a lot of marriages and families are falling apart, because people are going by their own will. People are doing things according to their own emotions, right? You may be good part of the time because there's a measure of faith in everyone. But the truth of the matter, your relationship is going to end up in divorce or separation if you don't have the spirit of compromise, right? I call it the 5 C's. The 5 C's into a healthy relationship: the ability to communicate, the ability to compromise, the ability to have compassion, the ability to be committed, and most importantly, the ability to have a conversion experience, a true conversion experience, when you always consider your spouse, your significant other, trying to looking at issues from their perspective, agreeing on a decision that's going to edify both of you, engaging in solution-oriented behavior. So some people is either going to operate on their own accord, which is going to lead to destruction and going to lead to possible the end result of the relationship, or you're going to fully do God's will. You can't do both. You can't ride the fence. Now, here's some more information that I got from blackdemographics.com, blackdemographics.com. In the black community, prior to 1965, the marriage rate was 80%. Prior to 1965, in the African American community, the marriage rate was 80%. Now, you have to go way, way back to understand the significance of marriage. And if you happen to, let me slow myself down, okay, you can go to Ellen G. White's. If you have Apple or you have Android, go to the store. If you have Apple, you can go to the Apple store. You can type in Ellen G. White Estates. It's a green icon, right? You can download it, open up the book, Story of Redemption, chapter 2, page 17 and 19. It talks about the fall of Lucifer in heaven. Lucifer was a created angel. He was married in his role as the music orchestra and also explaining the ever-existent laws of God to the entire universe. This was his job, right? He was married to God through his job, right? But over time, he became very self-assertive. As a matter of fact, God had a business meeting, right? And he told all the angelic hosts and the celestial beings on the other planets that he's going to create Earth, and Jesus was going to be large and in charge. Lucifer, he wanted to be the man, right? His pride got in his way, right? And he caused conflict, right? He went around spewing venom. Why is Jesus being the one? Why is not me? And he caused a lot of issues, and a lot of angels agreed to him. To make a long story short, word came back to God. God sent Jesus to talk to him. Jesus told Satan, he said, listen, this is going to be the end result if you keep this up. Jesus gave him a history lesson, not the story of the past, but a story of the future. What's going to be the end result of what he's doing? He did not listen. He continued on this plan, right? Then when there started to be chaos in heaven, God called a business meeting, right? He told each of the angels what is going to be the outcome of their issues. And a lot of angels came back to God. If you read Revelation chapter 12, it says that 1/3 of the angels sided with Lucifer. But if you read the story of redemption, chapter 2, it talks about 1/2 came with God. So that means that after God intervened, a lot of the angels came back to God. But yet there was a war in heaven. Revelations chapter 12, and subsequently Satan and his dominions was cast out of heaven. And this is the foundations of how the marriage, separation, divorce started in heaven, and the end result on earth. How it started on earth, right? God told Adam not to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil in Eden, chapter 1, chapter 2. You can eat of any tree inside the garden, but don't eat of this tree. Adam told Eve. Subsequently, Eve, she was enamored by the tree. Satan, as a serpent, was in the tree. She left Adam, ate of the tree, and ate of the apple. Afterwards, Adam came in, and instead of saying, praying to God for answers or for help, he decided to eat of the fruit of the tree. This is the foundation of the masculine, alpha, feminine. When Eve stepped away from Adam and decided to fight the enemy talk the enemy on her accord, she stepped away from the covering of her husband, and she found herself in display. And a lot of women today have stepped away from the covering of your husband, and now you are finding difficulty to keep the family together, right? Fast forward to Isaiah chapter 3, and you'll find that the rod and the staff was taken away from the home. That basically means that the Bible and the Holy Spirit was taken out the home, or the Shekinah glory was taken out the home. When the man left the home, then you have the children and teenagers rising up against the mothers. Fast forward to what I see today, working in an agency. We have too many single parent households. Fathers are not in the picture. Women are in the picture, and the children and the teenagers end up in foster care, engaged in a whole lot of risky behaviors. So let me continue. Over the last few decades, marriage has been a declining institution among all Americans. This decline is even more prominent in the Black community. In 2020, only 30% of African Americans was married, compared to 48% of all Americans. Ironically, compared to Caucasians, 54% of white women are married, right? Half of 50% of African Americans have never been married, compared to 34% of African Americans who are married. 80%, presently, 80% of Black women have filed for separation and divorce. And once again, these statistics are taken from blackdemographics.com. 31% of Black men, African American men, presently are not married. 18% of African American men are unmarried with children. 51% of African American men are unmarried without children. And the majority of African American men who are never been married and have no children are middle class. right? Here's something to consider. Married women, are you still a prize to your husband? Married men, are you still a catch for your wife? Some people, after a while, you take your spouse for granted. You let your weight go astray, and you eventually you're gonna find no joy in your relationship. The Bible specifically tells wives that you are to submit to your own husband. Unfortunately, we have a lot of wives submitting to other husbands. Now, your other husband can be another man, but it can be something that's taking you away from your role as a wife to your husband. Ironically, husbands are called to love their wives as Jesus loves the church. Unfortunately, a lot of men do not love their wives as Jesus loved the church, or they play that tit for tat. You love your wives with limitations, and that's a problem. That's a big problem that's impacting a lot of African American couples and also couples of other races. There's a lack of understanding the role that Jesus specifically has given you to sustain and maintain that relationship. Now, here's something that's important. Other than Jesus, wives, your husband is the only man who has ever loved you for who you are. Your parents love you because you are their daughter. Your siblings love you because you are their sister. Your children love you because you are their mother. But remember, the acronym for BUT stands for Behold Underlying Truth. Your husband is on another level. For this reason, you must give him the value and respect he deserves. Your husband loves you, or the love that your husband shows you is different from your parents, different from your siblings, and in fact, he's your husband and he chose you to marry. You ought to respect him and you ought to value him. Too many women do not support and elevate their husband. You rather talk negative about your husband, but you don't lift him up. Lift him up. You know what? Woman gets the praise for being a queen. For being a woman, for being independent. But it's something of value when you have a woman who understands the importance of a husband, realizing that you cannot exist in this world without your husband. If your car breaks down, who you calling? If something breaks down in your house, who are you calling? The water heater breaks, who are you calling? Right? Your air conditioner breaks down, who you calling? You calling a man. So if you think that you can live your life without a man, you are being bamboozled. And this type of mentality will keep you single. You and your cat or your dog will be living the rest of your life by yourself. Ironically, more African American women than any other race use prescription medication. As you age, it takes more to keep you in your upkeep than it does a man. And a lot of African American women, even women as a whole, you're living paycheck to paycheck, thinking that you can live without your husband. A wife that's married, you have options because the majority of the mature man is going to take care of the major bills in the house. Now, you as a single woman, you got to pay for everything. So you are actually married to your job. You can't leave your job. It's important, women, slow yourself down and understand the value of your husband. So you celebrate your husband, lift up that husband. You say to the world, you know what? I have a good man, and be supportive as a man. If you have low self-esteem, see how your husband is moving. Support him in his moving. He works hard outside. Support him in what he does inside. Now, let me take some time to really discuss the importance of understanding the value of men from an animal perspective. Think about how lions conduct themselves. In the pride men, think about the elegance of the male lion. He has the maturity. He has the hair on his face. He looks so elegant. He looks so king. Primarily, he is away from the home. He's working. He's protecting the family by keeping the hyenas away from the pride, right? And the wives, the female lion, is taking care of the children, taking care of the home. When the male lion comes home, right, the wives cater to him, right? When the wives kill the animals, kill the food, and the husband gets the first part of the animal, the best part. All right. There is order, there is discipline. When the young male lions act up, right? The fathers kick them out the home. They say, you gotta go. You're not following the rules of the home, you gotta go. But there's order and discipline in the lion family. Ironically, if you compare the lion family to a tigress is a solitary animal, right? She may get together to mate, but after she mate with the male tiger, she goes on her own. All right. Difference between a tiger and a lioness. A lioness exerts femininity, right? A tigress has that masculine alpha male tendency. You're a loner, all right? Now you want to compare the lioness to a hyena. In the hyena family, it is the woman that are running the hyena clan. Here's the order: is the woman, children, then is the man. Ironically, after sin, it was woman, children, man, if you are in the picture. If you're not in the picture, is woman, children, Satan, right? And if you look at the female hyenas, they're bigger than a man. They weigh more than a man, right? And ironically, in the African American community, the average weight of a woman compared to a man as equal height, she weighs more than him. The average weight of a woman, same height as a man, is 185. For a man, 168. Go to blackdemographics.com. The information is right there. All right. So the men have a passive role in the hyena clan, right? And this type of persona is played out in so many families, right? Women are becoming real dominant. You starting to look like a man, behave like a man, and you're losing your femininity because you're moving from a lioness to a hyena. And a hyena is not going to be able to control the family. You need the men to help sustain the families, to help sustain the youths, to help sustain the young adults. All right. So this is just positive information that I received by watching videos. I like watching videos about Wild Kingdom, animal habitations and things like that. It just really gets me excited and open up my mind to see how these issues impact the family. Now, once again, this is a review of the past video, 4 tasks that men need to have to excel in their role as a husband. Once again, I said it earlier: ministry of self, ministry of home, ministry of family, and ministry of work done outside the home. 5 tasks women need to excel in their roles as wives: femininity, physical fitness, friendliness, submission, and cooperation. Now get this in mind. 5 plus 4 equals 9. And according to BibleProphecyTruth.com, the number 9 represents completion. Go to Google, go to BibleProphecy.com, put it up, look under the chart, right? Look under the chart information. You can find Bible numbers. Look at that chart, and it'll tell you the number 9 represents completion, right? I don't want you to believe what I'm saying, but check it out and see it for yourself. You always want to check to see if there's truth. Do not accept the information you receive as truthful. Do your own research to see if there's any truth in it. Now, here's Satan's two-theme perspective to destroy all families. Satan two-theme prescription or perception to destroy all families: deception, through compromise, and to destroy through persecution. Now check this out. Matthew chapter 7, verse 24-27 talks about a wise man who built his home on the foundation of the 4 things we talked about before: ministry of self, ministry of home, ministry of family, and the work you do outside the home. And it also talked about a foolish man who did not have any foundation, and he built his house on sand. Both homes faced an external storm, which was rain, flood, and winds. Notice that this was an external storm, and they beat upon both houses. One house, the wise home, internally, they weathered the storm. The reason why they weathered the storm because each person knew their role inside the home, right? The issue was outside the home, external, and it did not impact internally the family dynamics or family interactions because everyone knew their role. They followed the covering of the husband, which the wife accepted in the role of submission and cooperation, his role as husband, and in turn, the children was kept in order because they saw the parents working together. They was not divided. They was equally cohesive in the roles of the family within the home. Now, the other home, right, they face the internal issues because a lot of times when you do not understand your role or convoluted roles within the home, any external pressure can cause the emotional atmosphere in the home to be offset. Then you have conflicts, you have fights, you have arguments, and eventually separation and divorce. All right. So Matthew 12:25 says this. Jesus says this: every house divided against itself shall not stand. Matthew 12:29 says this: or else, how can the enemy enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, spoil his foundation, spoil his legacy, spoil his plan, his outcome for the family, except he first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil the house. So here's the catch. Here's a question. How does Satan spoil the strong man's house? Through deception and destruction, leading Black African-American women to believe they can be happier without the African-American man. How does Satan spoil the African-American men's home through deception and destruction, leading the African-American woman to believe they can be happier without him? Check this out. Satan's greatest soldiers in his army is woman or African-American woman. Check this out. In 1965, Daniel Patrick Moynihan, he was serving as the U.S. Department of Labor as an assistant secretary. He spearheaded the release of the Negro family, the case for national action. In his report, he linked the abundance of women-led households in the African-American community to high rates of poor school performance, crime, and welfare dependency, and would shift the narrative on poverty from tackling structural barriers to focus on dysfunctional family narratives for decades to come. The reason why this report came about because there was a shift in the marriages of African-American families to single-parent households, and as a result, high crime rates, poor school performance by the children, and welfare dependency. This reform led to the establishment of secondary education and the welfare system. And ironically, nowadays you find a lot of women, the masculine, alpha, feminine, they love the power that comes with the positions, right? And as a result, you are systematically or subliminally intoxicated with these roles of power, your education, your diplomas, and your salary. Now you forget your role within the home. Now you want to challenge your husband as being priest or head in the home because you might have more education or a higher salary than he does. All right. So according to this reform, the Black unemployment decreased because now you have the establishment of secondary education and you have welfare reform, food stamps, public assistance, and as a result, the Black unemployment decreased, but the divorce rate increased. Black women African American women would rather be dependent on the government than dependent on your own husband. Subsequently, the baby boomers from the years 1946 to 1964 and Generation X, 1965 to 1980, my generation, we taught our daughters to be independent, but not to be a wife. Men was told, men was not told or learn or taught to be a husband. And so you find that a lot of people who are getting married, they're getting married for the sake of being married, but have never been taught to be a husband or to be a wife. Now, I want to focus now or transition on building the Black community, building the Black community. And this is the last part of what I'm going to talk about. I'm reading from Titus chapter 2, verse 1 to 6, and I'm reading from the King James Version. But remember, wherever you come across in the Bible the word but, it means behold, underlying truth. Behold, underlying truth. Speak thou the things which become sound doctrine, that the aged men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, in patience, the aged woman likewise, that they be in behavior as becoming holiness, not false accusers, not given too much wine, teachers of good things, that they may teach the younger woman to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God may not be blasphemed. Young men, likewise, exhort to be sober-minded. So what Paul is telling us here is that the aged men or the aged woman, which basically means people of age, my generation, we are tasked with teaching our children how to be husbands, how to be wives, how to be mature, how to be responsible, how to endure, how to persevere, and to carry yourself with dignity and respect. Too many of our young people do not respect the older people because they're doing things by their own means. Instead of being a slow cooker or an oven, they want to be a microwave. Fast things at fast time, fast relationship, right? The truth of the matter, young people should be staying in their homes, right? Stay in their homes, saving up your money so you be moved from your parents' home to owning your own home, right? Why are you going to leave your home to rent, right? Then you're going to go out there, get pregnant, have children before you really understand your mission or your purpose. The human mind, the human brain is not fully mature until the age 25. Yet young people are having children before the age of 25. So how can you know your purpose if your brain's not fully developed? And your brain should be fully developed holistically in the 4 areas of life: physical, psychological, social, and spiritual. All right, so I wanted to share that information with you. The last part of what I will be speaking about is called building the Black community, or building the community for all races. Number one, everyone is entitled to title or admonish is to conduct a family tree, to understand how our great-grandparents was able to persevere. They had less resources, no internet like we have today, yet they was able to persevere and work out their differences. Number two, understand what it means to be accountable, mature, respectful, and honorable. Number three, gain emotional and cognitive intelligence. Number four, moving from a problem-focused mindset to a solution-focused mindset. Number five, understand the role of a husband and the role of a wife. Number six, check your ego at the door. You should not have a selfish ego, but an unselfish ego. Number seven, listen to the desires of your mate. Number eight, learning to listen with an open mind and without any biases. Number nine, develop a growth mindset. Number 10, become agents of change. Number 11, learning to improve in all areas of your life. Number 12, understand that men project energy, women receive energy. Number 13, men are called to be the provider, the sustainer, the maintainer, and the protector. These are the roles of the men. Women, you are to support him as the provider, support him as the sustainer, support him as the maintainer, support him as the protector. Brethren, I hope you enjoy this. I have fun doing this. I'm going to start doing this, moving on, standing up. Let me show some energy and my passion and my commitment. I love the family. God created the human race. It's because of sin where we have different races. We have our skin colors different, but we all bleed the same, right? So I want to encourage you as a therapist, as a father, as a husband, as a friend. I want to encourage you to move self out the way and to sober up, to realize that you do not have all the answers, all right? The best way to solve a problem is to admit and be accountable for your actions. Realize when you are at fault, right? No more excuses, no more compromise, no more passing blame, but accept your role in a relationship and make that change. Make that change today for yourself, for your spouse, for your children, and for the world. The best way to change the world is to have a healthy relationship, a solid foundation for your children. Raise your children to make a difference in the world in the field of science, mathematics, technology, right? And engineering. Make that change starting today. Once again, my name is Dr. Garrett, right? And I hope this video has been encouraging for you, your family. Subscribe to my channel, support, right? Share your thoughts. I will read your thoughts and have a great and wonderful day. Once again, remember this: strive for perfection while settling for excellence.